everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Board Game Breakfast. Hey, thanks so much for coming on board each week and watching us talk about board games and such like. We are now at the end of August. This is the last week that Melody is here. She's heading off to college this week, so we're taking her there. So you will see her a little bit less as time goes by, but she'll be back around Christmas time. So, well, that's a thing. If you happen to be in Pensacola this week, I'll be there running a game night or being part of a game night on Saturday. And so, I got Saturday morning free. And, if you want to do something together, email me about that. And, of course, we're getting very, very close to the opening of registration for Dice Tower West. Dice Tower West is very exciting, and I hope that all of you can come. You can find out a lot of information about it at dicetowerwest.com. Also, we wanted to announce that Richard Ham, or as most people know him, Rado from Rado Runs Through, will be a special guest at Dice Tower West. So he'll be there playing games with folks and maybe doing a live Q&A there, so you can come by and see him. And we're really excited to bring him in. And so they'll be excited he'll be there. All the folks from Dice Tower will be there. And of course, we'll probably make more announcements about Dice Tower West as we go in the future. Registration opens September 4th. Keep an eye on that. And with that being said, let's get to the news. All right, so first of all, Wizards of the Coast has announced a Spell Slinger starter kit for Magic the Gathering. Sure. There's lots of starter kits, but this one looks really nice. It has 2 decks that are actually pre-shuffled for you, or what they mean is they're not shuffled. You're not supposed to shuffle them. You get them and it'll walk you through the game. It also comes with life counter dice and everything, so I really like how this one's put together. So there you go. Gale Force 9 has the license to Dune. This is pretty big news. Fantasy Flight tried to get licensed to Dune back in the day. They couldn't, so they remade the original Dune game that came out in the 70s as Rex. Now, the press announcement here from Gale Force 9, working with the Frank Herbert Estate, they're going to be making multiple games. That's all we can tell from it. The first will be an RPG game with Modifius. There's a new movie coming out in 2020, so there's some, coordination with that. I don't think, the press release does not seem to say that they're going to be bringing back the old Dune. Now, I know a lot of people will be like, and weeping tears, because that game is a great classic game, but it's also 6 hours, folks. It's not a game I think that would sell well today at all. But maybe they will, I don't know, but it looks like they're going to be new games. Gale Force 9 has a good track record of working with different intellectual properties and such, and so I'm sure the games will be fun. Gigamic has a new Corridor Junior. Now, Corridor is not that hard of a game anyway. It's a game that Gigamic has in the past pushed to, hey, use this game with the school kids. But this one has animals and is like a more friendly theming of it. CGE, Czech Games Edition, has announced Trap Words. This is kind of based on Codenames. It's like Codenames in a dungeon. I have a preview copy of this I'll be looking at some point. But the different ways that you can play it. So I'm kind of curious to see, can you make a word game and mix it with a dungeon crawl? CGE also announced that they made the big XXL version of Codenames. Now they're going to be also making a big XXL version of the Pictures version. Popular Mechanics has announced that there are 50 best games in 2017. Normally, lots of these places list them, and also I think it's kind of weird. 2018. I think it's kind of weird to announce the best games of 2018 in August, but whatever. And they're not all from 2018 anyway, but the fact is, they're really good lists. It's a lot of great games there. I was very pleased with seeing all the different games on this list. According to Board Game Geek News, Greater Than Games has bought Cheap Ass Games. So that's interesting. We're starting to see solidification in the industry, different companies buying each other. James Ernest made most of the games there. I don't know how many of them will be folded into the Greater Than Games thing. Probably Kill Dr. Lucky for sure, and maybe some of the other smaller. There's some really good games in that line. And then finally, Fantasy Flight Games, blowing us all away again, announced a second game in the Unique line. So we've already talked about Keyforge, in which every single deck of Keyforge that will be made will be completely unique. Now they have a new game called Discover Lands Unknown, which is a board game, and every single copy of this board game will be unique. Essentially, you're a bunch of survivors that are thrown on the top of a mountain or a desert or somewhere, and you got to survive. The survivors that each person will get will be different. It looks like the tiles and the land that you discover will be different. The game gives me a very strong Seventh Continent vibe from looking at it. How will this work? Do I want to buy multiple games of it? If I buy this game and play through, will I want to go buy a different game and try? I don't know. but the concept is super fascinating. I'm very curious. I mean, it's not going to hurt me to get one game, right? And I've already seen weeping and wailing about, oh, but my game might not be as good as your game. Who knows? Let's wait and find out to see more about this. It's coming out at the end of this year. So, wow, that's pretty interesting. All right, let's keep moving.
Happy breakfast, everybody. A powerful IP and a long out-of-print favorite are just two of the projects we have in today's crowdfunding roundup. So let's get going. Quinnet Games is bringing us a new printing of the 2010 game Firenze. This is a fabulous game of tower building. Players collect action cards and brick pieces working to fulfill tower building requirements for points. You get bricks along with cards from the line market, and there are a lot of tough choices between the cards you want, the bricks on those cards, and the store of bricks that you currently have. Because not all cards are good, and those bricks are both building units and currency. And you can steal bricks from other players too, adding a bit of player interaction. Firenze is an 8-year-old game that really holds up to today's standards, and you can get a copy for €41 plus shipping. Liberation is a 2-player, kind of cat versus mouse game in a cosmic setting, and it's part of Button Shy Games' ever-expanding Wallet Games series. In this head-to-head game, the long-standing Dynasty works to destroy the Liberation's secret base, and the Liberation faction works to gather support and survive for 3 eras. Multi-use cards can be used in a variety of ways for either side. The Dynasty can explore, attack, or use missions, and the Liberation can play for missions, sabotage the Dynasty, or move their secret base. If you pledge for Liberation, you'll also get the Warped World expansion, which adds a new planet and 2 new unique missions. You can get a copy of Liberation and the Warped World expansion for a pledge of just $10 plus shipping. Kazushi Seasons is an updated version of a 2-player game called Kazushi, a quick abstract game of area control. Double-sided cards that span 3 different unit types allow players to either play or flip cards, and you're going to be setting bases and expanding your flower territory. Kazushi Seasons is highly portable because the box is just 2 inches square, and the game scales for 2 to 4 players based on the grid size that you work towards. A copy of Kazushi Seasons takes a pledge of $20 plus shipping. And Renegade Games is kickstarting Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. Designed by Jonathan Ying of Star Wars Imperial Assault and Bargain Quest fame, in this game, you get to take on the role of a Power Ranger. You get a unique combat deck that matches your specific Ranger's style and strengths, and you work together as a team to protect the areas that Rita Repulsa is targeting with her minions. Battle around the city of Angel Grove, but make sure you build up strength and rest and recover your deck so that you're ready for the final battle. And of course, you'll work to unlock all of the Zord cards to get to the Megazord. Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid includes over 30 larger scale minis, and pledge levels for the game start at $75 plus shipping. Okay, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hey there everyone, I'm Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with this week's segment, From the Page to the Table. This week I'm joined by a special guest.
Hey everybody, I am Jason from the Every Night is Game Night podcast. How y'all doing?
I'm really thankful Jason is here today. Jason has been one of my teachers and teaching games here at Silk City Board Game Group at Manchester Public Library, and he brought with him today some Mistborn. So tell me about Mistborn.
All right, Mistborn is an adventure novel, a really, really cool series. I hear it's Tom Vasel's favorite series, which is well-deserved, actually.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So this one is a dystopian future where there's a Lord Ruler, and the Lord Ruler rules over this blasted land, and he rules by proxy of nobles. So like there's a bunch of noble houses that are vying for the favor of the Lord Ruler. That's kind of the backdrop of the game. In the novels, you get to play the good guy, so like, yay, we get to rebel against stuff. In this game, you are playing those nobles, which is a really interesting twist. If you want to play the good guys, Crafty Games, which is the publisher, has a RPG. It's So play the good guys there. Nope, you're playing the bad guys here. This is a heavy negotiation, cutthroat game. What I like about it so much, I'm not a negotiation guy whatsoever. I'm like a teddy bear. I love co-ops.
Yep,
but
so
this game is soaked with theme. Like you got the Kolosh, you got Vin, who's like one of the problems that you have to solve. You have Kelsier, who's with the rebel leader. So much stuff. So it's really, really soaked with. Even though you're not playing the good guys, there's enough theme and book integration that I just think this game's a winner.
Awesome. 3 to 5 players, 60 to 90 minutes. Kevin Wilson. So, can't beat Kevin Wilson. Thank you for joining me today, talking a little about, and this is one of your favorite series too. You're a big Sanderson fan.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, that's all for this week. Happy breakfast.
Take care.
Bye.
Greetings and welcome to the Mega Meeple. I am Thomas Grogan, and this week I'm going to just give you my opinion about a game just got released to the backers from Kickstarter called Gearworks from Peacekeeper Games. Go to the Mega Meeple YouTube channel, and I have a overview of the game as well as an hour-long or so playthrough of the game. It is a steampunk game. This is Sudoku on steroids. Plays 1 to 4 players. Basically, you are placing gear cards with gears and numbers on it with different colors. The colors cannot duplicate on the columns, and the numbers have to go in either ascending or descending order on the rows. Once you place cards, you turn these little dials here to dictate what column and row you control. And then at the end of each round, you claim that particular part for that row and column. At the end of each round, you attempt to build contraptions. And then after 3 rounds, whoever has the most points at the end wins. This game is really easy to learn. The rule book is impeccable. One of the best rule books I've ever read. Now, I like this game because its replayability is infinite. It's a real brain buster. Another thing I like is that you're not strictly limited to the draw of the deck. There are ways of mitigating that. So bottom line, if you like Sudoku, you like this steampunk style theme, and you enjoy burning a few brain cells to try to figure out a puzzle, then I would wholeheartedly recommend you check out Gearworks. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, so what's coming out from the Dice Tower this week? Well, it's taken us a bit, but the Empires of the Void 2 reviews coming out, as well as Architects of the West Kingdom. I'll be taking a look at Ivion, however you say it, Newton, the new Smash Up expansion, as well as the Smash Up Big Box. The Floor is Lava, some other games that we'll be going through, the Ninth Symphony. We also have another top 10 list. We just did one top 10 list. Now we're going to be doing another one this week of the top 10 games with exciting endings. And so they might see other stuff. We did some live plays last week. You might see some more live plays this week. Who knows? Keep an eye on the channel for that. Of course, I'll be doing a live Q&A. I'll be doing that today around 2 o'clock, so keep an eye for that. And that's what's coming out this week. Of course, more podcasts and all that stuff that you can find at dicetowernetwork.com.
Everyone, my name's Annette, and you may know me as Natters Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm going to go over the game of Kodama the Tree Spirits. So this is a unique card game where it's all about card placement in the form of creating these trees. So let me show you a little bit about it and why I really like it. You randomly give out a tree trunk to every player, which has a unique feature on them. You'll play the game through 3 different seasons. You'll turn over the spring card, and this will give you a special assignment for that round or that season. On a player's turn, you'll be able to draw any one of these 4 branches and add it to your tree trunk. Whatever you place, you count up the unique features that are on that card along with any ones that are connected to your trunk. So these 2 points will be added to these 2 fireflies and the worm, so you'll gain 5 points. You can also add on to this tree branch by placing another card onto it. As long as it doesn't cover a unique feature, it doesn't cover another card, or it doesn't go below the tree itself. Another rule is that you cannot score more than 10 points on a single branch, so you'll eventually have to extend to other locations off the trunk. You'll be scoring points along the way, and after 4 rounds in each season, you'll also have a bonus scoring round. This is where you'll be able to pick any one of the 4 Kodamas to score special bonus points at the end of each season. At the end of 3 rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner. However, everyone will also have a beautiful tree. So as you can see, this game is unlike any other one out there because it's very fluid, and also you're playing these cards in a certain manner and arranging them in order to form and develop a beautiful tree at the end. Of course, points are involved, and it can get a little competitive when you're trying to get the right branch for your tree. However, I enjoy the display of the cards in the end, and that's why I really enjoy Kodama. Well, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Hi, Mike Delisio from Solomode Games. This week I have a question for the non-solo gamers out there, the ones who have never played a solo game and feel like they never will. That's assuming you don't skip right past this segment. My question is very simple. Why? Why is it that you would never want to play a solo game? I need to make it clear that the question's not coming from a place of provocation or anger at all. I'm just genuinely curious. I've seen recently in quite a few different game forums on multiple sites, people who say that I'm never going to game solo, I have no interest. And it's made me reflect, are there anything in my gaming habits that I can have a similar situation with? And the closest I could come with is wargaming. I'm certainly not anti-wargaming, but I really have never looked at myself as being somebody terribly interested in it, and I think the reason is that they intimidate me, quite honestly. I'm concerned that they're going to be too complex, too long, too this, too that, and I've talked to a couple of people that are in wargaming, and they tell me that I really probably have unfounded fears, and so I wonder, are there similar things on the solo gaming side where people maybe have particular concerns that I might think maybe are unfounded? And so if you have some comments on this, I'd love to see it. I'm sure there are a multitude of reasons why you could potentially be not interested. I know that a lot of people say, I'm into board gaming because of the social aspect and I like interacting with people socially, and I totally get that. I've said before that my dirty solo playing game secret is that I play with other people more than I play solo, most likely. And so I understand that that's a big part of it, but are there other reasons? Are there particular reasons why, if you've never played a solo game and feel like you never would, why that would be? So if you can let me know in the comments below, I'd love to hear them. I'm very, very interested in this. So as always, thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
Happy breakfast, everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about Ticket to Ride, The Heart of Africa. Now this is the third map expansion and effectively looks at the southern half of the continent of Africa. It's only a one-sided board, unlike some of the other map collections, which in my opinion makes it slightly worse value, but it does introduce a very nice mechanic. So there's terrain cards that you can get on top of the normal train cards, and you can trade these in alongside claiming a route to double your points. Now, the why I really like it is the fact it matches the way the board's made. So you have like the red, orange and yellow desert. You have the black, white and grey areas of the board, which are supposed to be like mountainous. And then you have sort of the green, blue and pinky purple colours, which are supposed to be like a jungle and that sort of thing. Now, I really like the way that this board is so unique because it sort of splits areas into colour. And you have to plan your routes and stuff like that. And I do like the way they've actually thought into how can we sort of give Africa its own feel, and that was sort of by splitting it into the three sort of very distinct areas that you think of when you think of the continent of Africa. You know, those deserts, the sort of lush and jungly areas, even though it's quite warm, and then sort of the mountains and stuff. That's really nicely done. The only problem with it, as with all the map packs, is you just realise how bad your geography actually is. Anyway, I love it when sort of a mechanic is almost added but has a reason for it in the game. Anyway, that is the Heart of Africa expansion for Ticket to Ride, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.
I've mentioned this before, but it's come to my mind again, so I want to talk about it again. Sometimes you get, I guess, a repeat, Tom thinks. But I often talk about the cult of the, well, a lot of people talk about the cult of the new. I'm definitely a member of the cult of the new. If there's new games, I'm certainly eager to play them. And if it's a great game that I already know how to play, or a new game that I might like or might not like, I tend to go, oh, I'm kind of interested in the new game that I might like or might not like. So there's that way. And that's why it's Gen Con and Essen are so exciting for me. I go to these cons and it's like, oh, 100 new games, and Essen, 1,000,000 new games or whatever. And I like to see all these new games, but here's what's boggling my mind. We keep moving into the cult of the future. When people say, oh, what'd you see at Gen Con? And they're like, ooh, there's all these games that are coming out. And look at this game, it's coming out soon, and this game's coming out soon. Are you kidding me? Now, don't get me wrong, we talk about that stuff on the Dice Tower. That's our job as a media, to push and to say, hey, this is coming out. And we do talk about that on the Dice Tower. We talk about, we have Kickstarter previews that Mark does. I do the news segment on Board Game Breakfast, and we talk about games that are coming out. But the vast majority of the airspace or video space or YouTube space, whatever it's called, that we are using is talking about games that have already been printed. And I think sometimes we never happy with what's out now. I've said this, and I always believe this. If they stop making games right now, every company would stop making games. Every single person alive, including people who are like babies, would never run out of games to play, ever. There are that many games that exist. If we could only play games made in 2018 from January to August right now, same thing. That's how many games exist right now. It is unbelievable the amount of games that are out there. And yet, it's not enough. Now, why is this? Now, part of this is Kickstarter, because Kickstarter always has that, hey, look to the future, to the point where it seems like people sometimes are more excited about the backing of the Kickstarter than they are about the getting the Kickstarter games themselves. It's like, oh, look at this game, yeah, woo, it's out. And then the game comes out, people are like, yeah, I got it. Hey, there's a new Kickstarter, let's get on that. Part of it's a lot of the board game media. A good chunk of board game media doesn't talk about games that are already out, but they talk about stuff that's coming out. And it's always like, hey, sneak preview here, sneak preview here. And again, I realize at the Dice Tower, we do sneak previews of things occasionally, but I hope that we temper that with a ton of stuff that's already existing, because that's what's a big deal. When people are like, hey, what did you see at Gen Con? What's coming out? I'm like, who cares? I mean, really, who cares what's coming out? Let's talk about the games that came out, because I'm looking over at my shelves right now over here, and I see 100 plus games that came out at Gen Con, and there's like, oh, that's exciting, that looks exciting, that looks exciting. And for the past couple weeks, I've just been like, la 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 la, like playing all these new fantastic games, which are just amazing and cool and exciting, and they're available right now. It kind of reminds me of the proverb or the fable of the guy who had to fast forward. And I mean, I know they made the Adam Sandler movie, but even before that, there was a guy who could jump through life, and he kept jumping forward to the next exciting point and then realized he missed most of his life. And if we spend most of our time anticipating future games, why not just spend the time we have now and play the games that exist? Could you imagine if you took a year off from board gaming at all? And some of you may have done this in the past where you've taken time off from board gaming, and then you come back in and you're like, ooh, look at all the stuff that I can get now. It's not as exciting for me when I go to a convention and you go to a booth and be like, ooh, that looks interesting. They're like, well, that's on Kickstarter now. And you're like, oh, okay. And that's great and all, but I'm kind of hoping to get something now. But if you left a year and came back, there would be huge amounts of games to play now. That's exciting. Just play the games that are out now. I'm not even saying play the old games, right? But there's all those games. You can go to discount stores. You can go online and find games that came out 10 years ago for cheap prices. They're just games all over the place. Games. And there's so many good ones. Enjoy them.
Welcome to the pitch. Dave.
Yeah.
We have to call the police.
Why?
We've been robbed. Look at all this. I can put my hand in here. It's empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? Are you not... What?
Well, I'm selling the games, making room.
You are selling? You've sold all these games?
Well, I've sold one.
Oh, you sold one?
Well, it was Thunderstone Quest, so it was quite a big game.
That's very true. So, all these other games you've sold already?
No, they're behind you on the big pile.
So they're just in another shelf, Dave.
Well, I'm preparing to get rid of them, so I'm thinking about this is the space that I will be able to fill. Essen is 10 weeks away, okay, 10 weeks only, and there are already over 400 new games on the Board Game Geek site, and there is 1,300 new items announced on the Essen website.
So we're gonna fill up these shelves pretty quick.
Yeah.
We're gonna stand outside the building in Essen and do the auction, no shipping.
No shipping, Essen auction. That's where all the games will be. I'll post a picture for everyone. If there's something you like, then come to Essen.
That's where you will find us. So, my love, what you are saying is that the pitch is working?
What do you mean?
I was right, and you're listening to me?
You are always right, honey.
That sounds so believable. I was right as in one game out, one game in?
Yes, and I mean selling the games to make more room and even get money back to buy new games. That's okay for me.
It's okay for me too. So what we are saying is, gamer wives and husbands of the world, it's working.
Hi, I'm Gil Mello.
And I'm Gabby, and this is Time to Play.
And what did we play this week?
We played The Reckoners.
So The Reckoners is a game based on the novels of Brandon Sanderson, The Steel Heart. It's designed by Brett Sobel and Seth Van Order, and we played a 6-player game, which was quite fun. How does the gameplay goes?
This is a co-op game where we are the Reckoners trying to destroy Steelheart and all his epics. Based on the dice phase, all the players will talk to each other about which actions to take.
Yeah, it was interesting, like how we didn't catch on that in the beginning, but very quick we realized that we really have to look at each other's dice before the second and third roll, right?
Yeah.
The boards have this small track that we all gonna roll the dice, and then after we are done with our turn, we have to, all the epics take their turn, and we're gonna suffer consequences based where their power or their reaction is on that trap.
I liked this game a lot because it was really fun. The only problem with co-op games, though, like this, is that there are big chances of there being an alpha gamer.
Yeah, I can see that, mainly because we were all adults and you were a kid. We were pushing you around a little bit there. But other than that, and I think this is a common problem with any co-op game. This is amazing. I mean, I love this game. We had a lot of fun. We played really well with 6 people. So for me, it's like 10 thumbs up. Well, I only have 2, so I'm going to do 2 thumbs up.
I agree.
All right. I guess we'll see you guys next time. Have happy breakfast, everybody.
Happy breakfast.
Where did you learn Alpha Gamer?
Randy and Ellen, we game together.
It's your turn.
Ooh.
Hi, I'm Randy.
I'm Ellen. Welcome to Games Just Played. Tonight, before we talk about Century Spice Road, I want to talk about how cool I feel with this on. We got these little mics. I think they're really neat.
It's cute. More so we can kind of go wherever we want.
Yeah,
I
and
guess.
feel cool.
It would be better, maybe, ish. We'll see.
Let's see if it works. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're going to talk about this game. I really love it. We played it at 2-player. It was super fun and a nice flow. Yeah. I did find that we were really quiet throughout the game. It was just like really fast and
yeah, I don't know
solitary.
if it's just us, but we just fell into an immediate solitaire mode. I was just upgrading and doing my stuff. I paid a little bit of attention to what she was going to grab.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't thrilled at 2-player, but
I did
it
like
was
how
fun.
fast the turns went because I felt like you were constantly moving. I can't stand sitting there waiting forever for someone's turn.
Right.
But we played it at 3, and it was awesome.
I thought it was really much better at 3. You're forced to look at people's, what they're building up for and try to snatch it from other people quicker. Yeah. With 2 people, it's just not enough. I mean, you kind of sniped them once in a while, but with 3, it just made it a lot better. It makes the cards go through faster, I think, too. Just cards are constantly moving out of the piles, which was really neat. It was always bringing something up. And if your card got taken, something was sure to come up that you could kind of, go for again, which I like. Yeah. Now, that wouldn't stop me from, playing it with him. Just 2-player. Yeah, we pick it up.
Fun.
It's so short anyway. Right. It's like, well, might as well just kind of pick it up before you're doing some other games. Yeah. Super light, super easy. But it's just a great little engine building game.
We keep getting asked after I posted about it, why aren't you playing Golem? Is that what it's called, Golem?
Golem Edition.
I don't know. We found this one, picked it up, and I don't feel any need to change. I love the fact that you're dealing with spices. It's fun to say turmeric. And what's the other one? Turmeric. It's fun to say spices that I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I don't feel any need to change my mind, guys.
I'd rather have the option of having the expansion. It was my biggest thing.
Yep.
But
me too.
Anyway, our picture of the day is from a cove that we found off the coast in Washington State.
Yes, lovely place. Bye, guys. Have a good week.
Bye.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Tantrum House After Party. We just finished playing Blank Slate from USAopoly, and we're going to give you our thoughts, tell you what we loved, what we hated, who won, and how.
So what did we love?
So I loved just the simplicity of their design and their components. They've got this little inset so that as you write the words on it, if you plop it down face down, it doesn't erase it.
That's pretty cool.
Simple and beautiful.
Yeah, I love that you're just trying to match one other person, so you're not trying to think of the most obvious word, but not a word that is
so
obscure, right?
Yeah. What do we hate?
I hated that there was not a spell check on it.
That would be handy.
But there were some words that were a little harder, too.
There were some hard words, and everybody else did not have a problem thinking of something. But, maybe that was just an issue with myself instead of the game.
And I think you do have to specify kind of your house rules up front. Like, are you going to allow the S's at the end of words?
Yeah, because there was like shoelace, we did lace or laces. I think there was another one that we added another like S to it. So as long as it's the same word, I think it's okay.
We counted them.
And then who won?
I won! Woohoo!
She did.
Yes.
How?
The last word was cheap, and both Kevin and I did skate. Cheap skate.
Do you think there's any advantage to couples playing together?
I think there might be a slight advantage to couples because we, do a lot of the same things together, but you did pretty well.
I did, yeah. Second place with no couple. So
no couple.
Right. Well, cool. That was Blank Slate. If you guys think you would enjoy that, then check out the playthrough that we did on our channel over at tantrumhouse.com.
So I've intended to record this video in front of the pleasing aesthetics of my board game shelf for weeks, but I had some free time at work today and decided now is the time. My Tom is Wrong segment comes from the top 5 overrated games video from Dice Tower Con. About 47 minutes and 40 seconds in, Tom said, whenever the phrase is, "It's a good drinking game," that means it's bad. I immediately want to clarify that I'm not advocating for drinking. Whether one does or does not drink is no business of mine. My issue with what Tom said is purely one of semantics. You see, I think that what Tom meant is that if you must drink to enjoy a certain game, then it's a bad game. And yes, I agree with that 100%. However, I think there's another side to the expression, good drinking game, that maybe Tom hasn't considered. I have a couple friends who regularly host game nights at their house that involve both heavy games and heavy drinking. And that may work for some people, maybe, but to me that combination makes 0 sense. If I'm drinking, I do not have the coherence, patience, or attention span to learn and play a brand new heavyweight game. A game like Great Western Trail, for example, is a fantastic game, but it is not a good drinking game. Meanwhile, a game like Rhino Hero Super Battle, I would be thrilled to play with a few drinks or without. At the end of the day, identifying a game as a good drinking game is just like identifying a game as a good family game. Does one need to play with their family to enjoy a family game? No. Does one need to drink to get the most out of a good drinking game? Again, I say no. My point is simply, if you've been drinking and you want to play a game, there are good games to play, and there are not good games to play. Tom, I love you. I appreciate everything that you do for the community. You're an awesome man. But in this situation, I think you're wrong to dismiss an entire genre of games.
But they're super comfortable to sit in. Okay, I think we might agree and disagree here. My biggest problem with that phraseology is it's almost always used when I say this game's silly and dumb and not good, and people like, but it's a good drinking game. And it's always like, well, if you're drinking, then you're more accepting of this game's flaws. That's how I feel about that. I don't like the drinking thing, period. And again, I'm going to repeat what you said, and I'm not here to cast condemnation on folks who drink. I just think drinking and games doesn't mix well at all. You said it doesn't mix with heavy games. I'd argue that doesn't mix with a lot of games. I find that if I allow drinks, and this is one of the reasons we banned them from Dice Tower Con, you can go drink outside the con all you want. But when you're playing games and people start drinking, they tend to get angry easier. They tend to be just not as fun to be around, unless you are also drinking, then maybe you find that stuff funny and all. So I don't necessarily want to go down that route and get into the should you drink when playing games or not. I don't like it, and that's why I don't like that phraseology. I would prefer the phraseology just to be something different. Just say the word silly. It's a great silly game then. Like I would not want to play Rhino Hero with people who've been drinking. Their arms are going to shake. It's going to fall all over the place. But I think in this case we may just have to agree to disagree on that end. Hey folks, do you have a Tom is Wrong thing? Anything? A review? You don't like my hats? I haven't got one of those yet. But anyway, whatever it is, send it in. I'll play them. All you got to do is send them to me. Just email me at tom@dicetower.com. Okay, well, that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. Thanks to everyone who did all the stuff on the show. I appreciate it as always. I'll see you guys next week. Watch Week in Review. Watch all our other stuff. There's lots of things coming out this week. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at coolstuffinc.com.